I'm Juan Martinez, and this is TransTalk 2020. I am Juan Martinez, and my pronouns are he, him, his, and transvestite.
My name is Mark, and my pronouns are he, him, her, she, queen, hey girl.
My name is Josh Krantz, and my pronouns are he, him, his.
I'm Thadeo, he, him, his.
I'm Santino, he, him, his.
I'm Jonathan, and my pronouns are he, him, his.
So, first question. There's been many protests, there's been many people hurt or dead. So how do you guys feel? I know we've all gone to a protest or two, or seen it at home. Jonathan, what's your take on what's going on?
I feel like what's going on has been a long time coming. There's been a lot of small protests and uprisings. Every time we see this on TV, it's a very common story. We see it all too often. And I think it's kind of special about this time, about all these events that led up to it with the quarantine, and then we are presented with this very long video where we see this man's life leave him and this police officer's knee still be on him. I'm just like, it's horrifying. It's like, how many more times are we going to have to watch these murder porns on fucking TV before we do something about it? And I'm glad that, it's kind of awoken a lot of people. And every single United States, all 50 states have protested, over 18 countries have protested around the world. It's like, we're really seeing something happen here, a conscious shift. The conversation has shifted in a way that I think is just really great. So
It makes me really wonder how much this quarantine status and this COVID status has really sort of luxuries and distractions and whatever that they would normally say, I don't really have to worry about that, it's something else going on. And
100%.
now I wonder how much that has truly influenced people's the level of response that we're getting right now.
Or what I've heard was they're forced to think about it.
yeah, it's like
There's nothing else
There's
going
no
on.
live TV. There's no live music events happening. There's no live sporting events happening. Those are the two biggest distractions that we fill our lives with. You know what I mean? The whole the Roman bread and circus. The circus was taken away, and for the last 3 months we've been forced to look at what's actually happening, and it's hard for people to ignore. I feel it's kind of been the perfect storm of things.
It's like that level of having to lead your own life hour by hour
Right now is really different than what it was 9 months ago, when your schedule was laid out and you just kind of there's a certain level of routine and going by the just kind of going by the instinct and habit, right? And because it's so disrupted, on Monday through Friday I have my job, which I do from home, and so to a large degree I get to be back in that bubble, of my hours are already sort of mapped out for me in this little bit of time or whatever. But then before that and after that, they're not, and that it's true that it just really makes you only look at what's truly happening now.
Yeah.
Quarantine status. What's different? I know I said I would ask one question, but how do you feel this time around? This movement is different from '92. LA riots.
Well, I didn't live here in 92, but watching it in Chicago, it became more of it was real life or death then. They all got away with murder. So,
Yes, they did.
but then they wanted to just talk about Reginald Denning, and it's we know that they beat that dude up, but did we not just do the same thing? And so it's always going to be about, it's supposed to happen to black people, but it shouldn't happen to white people, you know what I mean? And so that's a problem.
It's difficult to compare to the Rodney King because there's no trial. There's no we're not.
Yet. Well, we haven't. That's why we're protesting now.
Compare yet,
Well, I don't think it's hard to compare.
It's hard to compare in my eyes because the riots happened because of the verdict, and we don't have any verdicts yet. There's a little bit of
But
similarity
there was
in
a
some of the
refusal
activity
to
that we
even
see.
convict.
The thing is that we're not screaming just for the verdict. We're screaming stop.
For the act.
Yeah, why do we even have to go to trial? Why do we have to prove it to you that
Because the verdicts,
again,
because the convictions are really important to make
no,
it
we know
stop.
that. But we as a people have to get the people on our side to make those convictions happen. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Because
the
people,
DAs, the judges.
Of course,
we
I'm
gotta.
not saying don't focus on this.
That's
and
just
this
further
happen,
down the line,
but
though.
I think that they both have to happen.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
they
have to happen.
hope.
Let's hope.
Yeah.
Okay.
And like, I think, I'm
Right.
sorry, just like talking about Rodney King, and it's like that was the first time video cameras back in the early 90s was a luxury item. You know,
Yeah,
they were
very much
expensive. Only certain people had them, you know what I mean? And so the fact that this person happened to have a video camera and happened to be there to be able to record it, it was very shocking. It was very new, you know? But now we all have a camera on our phone, a very high quality camera. And we're capturing this same fucking scene over and over and over again. Like even during these protests, the amount of unnecessary force that's being used against people protesting peacefully. How many black lives and other lives have we lost during these protests? You know what I mean? There have been countless, like 7 that I can think of right now. You know, like it's crazy.
Well, all this has been going on for so long, but now we have cameras to show it happening.
Yeah.
So ultimately, then we're all responsible
Well
for it.
said, yeah.
What was the quote?
Racism's always existed. This is now being filmed.
Yeah.
Correct.
It's not getting worse, it's getting filmed.
There it is. Yeah.
Fact.
Yeah.
We'll stop on that.
Another card, come on.
Pen and paper.
Santino.
We'll do this and then another question.
Apologizes for everything they have ever done.
Juan Martinez.
You don't know me.
There's
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm
I would
sorry.
pick myself.
There's no smoke weed here.
It goes here. It goes
Let's
here.
get into it.
Bye bye.
Even I agree.
Let's choose
I
a
hate
good
you
one.
guys so much. That is so true. Touche. God bless you. And still apologizing.
Yeah.
Fuck it.
Yes.
Alright.
But at least I felt something.
To the bitter
Shit.
end, people. Yeah.
Bam.
All right.
Chin chin.
All right, so
Yeah,
I'm
come
gonna
on now.
skip this round and ask a question. How do you feel about the intersection of Black Lives Matter and all Black Lives Matter?
You
But
go.
all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter.
Right.
So, by getting rid of that whole question, you say all Black Lives Matter, right?
Right.
Which is important. I mean, there was too many questions of why all lives matter or why they don't matter. Because
But isn't
I thought
all
there
black doesn't all Black Lives Matter relate more directly to trans Black lives that
Agreed.
are not
So-
being
Agreed.
spoken about?
That's my understanding.
So what I'm
Yeah.
hearing is, yes, you'll go out and do protests based on these people who are, you know, these men who are shot in their
These
cars or shot on the
yeah.
street or whatever, but you're not protesting for these trans Black women who are slipping away with no one
Daily.
noticing.
Or
Daily.
trans men.
Or just
Leave.
women.
Trans men.
Or just
trans
women.
men. Like
Smart.
Yeah. And so, but
Today.
you know,
The
Or-
only thing that I can say about
This
that is, you know, and not to my response is not designed to be an apology or what do they call
Apologetic?
that? An apologizer concept or whatever. But you know, you have to remember the things that are being filmed versus the things that are not being filmed, and
That
so. There's a of course you can get a much wider reaction around things that people can go, oh my god, did you fucking see that shit?
Yeah.
Versus just
We
a
will not
name
bleep
coming
that.
across your Facebook with a picture. Although the reaction should probably actually be the same. Right? And
That's
it
it right
probably
there, that
actually
everyone
should
should
be the same. So
Stand up for the same.
yeah, and if you're
as
seeing it
much.
across your Facebook, then there should be some organization, obviously around that, you know.
What made me ask
I
that-
don't think it should be in. But my concern is that like it's becoming a little bit divisive right now.
Yeah. So what made me ask that was when we went to the rally recently, and they were saying, "We see you out there with your Trans Lives Matter signs, but we're not here for that right now." And so that made me feel some type of
I
way.
felt a certain type of way about that as well. I felt like they were missing the mark. It's like it's basically, like, we're all out there for Black lives. We're basically saying that, like, yes, right now, for whatever reason, Black people's lives are being taken without much thought about it. We cycle with the police. Oh, they must have been doing something bad. We try to basically blame the victim for their own murder in some way, somehow. They didn't cooperate. They didn't do this, they didn't do that.
Or they have
And
a
so,
record,
or
or
no.
an outstanding ticket or some
Well,
shit,
there's still
yeah.
this thing called fucking law and order. They still have a jury. They still have a trial. You know, it's not fair that they just, this cop takes their life, judge, jury, executioner. It's not right, you know? But at the same point, we're out here
Acting
marching
out.
and whatever, acting out for
Peacefully
Black lives.
demonstrating.
And at the same point, at these demonstrations, trans women of color and trans men of color, I'm sure,
Are the same.
are being attacked literally at the actual rallies. A woman was killed at one of those rallies. She was beaten to death
No way.
by a group of Black men.
Where?
I don't
Okay,
quite
so
remember
this
where.
kind of gets a little bit more like that's a
And I feel like
real-
that's
that's
when
Well,
the all white,
that's why I
the
wanna
all Black
answer
Lives
it.
Matter came forward. Yes, I want to
Today.
hear it today.
So the thing is that when I heard that lady say that comment, and I was like, okay, yeah, she's kind of right. So Black trans lives matter, right? Okay, well, now we just are really asking the Black community, are you going to accept us
Or
as your ally and this unity of revolution? Because at the end of the day, your Black man and that Black trans woman, they're kind of the same person.
Low
And
key.
it's a transformation on both sides. And so you're trying to tell us that his life is more important than her life, even as a Black person.
Because of her choices.
So that's why instead of saying trans lives matter or Black trans, it's
Black Lives
all
Matter, it's
Black
all Black
lives
Lives
matter,
Matter.
because we should be able to come through, you know, we're businessmen, you know, whatever the job occupation may be, you're poor, you're not poor, whatever it is. And so we as Black people have to open up our hearts even more to even welcome that in, so that people
what I-
can stand up for
What I feel
all
like
Black
I'm
lives.
hearing is that Black Lives Matter is for white people and all Black Lives Matter is for Black people. In a
Not
way.
so much. No.
No, I mean-
like they have to remember.
No,
I feel
because
like
that's
like
what
as
it
this
is. Black
movement's
lives
evolving,
are
it
part of-
evolved to like the conversation to include the trans identities within the Black
Right.
community.
Yeah, it was like, come on and join this protest and parade. We'll walk with you. And now everyone else goes, okay, yeah, all Black lives matter.
Including the trans ones,
We
including the queer
we
ones,
doubled it up. We
like,
showed
all
you
of
who
it.
we were.
And we
Handicap.
showed up to that protest, and I'm probably sure that not only us two and us, it influenced them to create the march that will happen June
The
28th.
28th, right?
So
Yeah, because
when I saw that, it was great to see, because that her comment did affect me. Because it's like your sign said, everyone's lives, Black lives matter except for mine.
yeah, I said all lives matter except mine.
There it is.
You know, and it's
That
like
someone had to have seen that and been like,
we
fuck.
just want people to listen to how we want to hear. We can't even really do anything or reparations or we need these things back. You haven't even heard all of these stories yet.
do you
We
feel
need
like
to
you
talk
can
first.
initiate something as a Black trans man and be heard as much and as well as a cisgendered Black man?
Well, I would love to be received by another Black person, because at the end of the day, I was a woman for 32 years. So yes, I can speak very much on that, but I just couldn't make the cut. You know, I'm not as strong as that Black woman, but I think that I am a wonderful Black man. I want to be with my kids. I don't, you know, try to be and they label it as stereotypical gangster life and thug rap and all that. I work
The
the
culture.
9 to 5. Yeah, I'm just your average dude, and I think that people need to understand that Black people are caring all together. So yes, I have feminine qualities and I have male qualities, but that's just being a human being.
Yes.
Because every single one of us, whether you're Black, white, or whatever, you're actually half man and half woman.
At the beginning. And all your fucking guts are pink.
That's
Well,
it.
really,
Sorry about it.
Unless you're
men are half women and women are whole.
Correct.
We're whole women.
Everyone starts off female, which is why men have no.
Yeah.
So technically, we are all trans.
Is that it?
Technically,
Did I just learn something?
Sure
Yes.
did.
All men start off as
No,
women.
everyone starts off.
Everyone starts off
as
as a
female.
I know that, but
As
I didn't
female.
know that that's why we all
That's why
have
men have it.
nipples.
That's why you're. That's
Well-
That's
why
why
you're-
my nipples are 8 feet long.
That's why Mo has 6 or 8 nipples.
And I just want
That's
to
why
like
Mo
state
has
that
6 or 8
woman,
nipples.
she wasn't killed. She was just beaten to a pulp.
Oh,
But she
okay.
wasn't killed. But she was still beaten to a pulp.
Retracting that statement.
But-
No deaths on that.
Yeah, by 20 to 30 people.
Right.
Well, in the circle, they were shouting like really like homophobic like things, and also saying that they were beating her up for the black community, like to save it from that.
Yeah,
Were
the
those 20 to 30 men a part
So
of the
this
Black
is
Lives
what I'm
Matter
saying with
protest?
this whole sort of
Unfortunately,
fracture.
yes, they were.
That's where that intersection.
well, that fracture comes from slave owners.
It
You know,
really does. It comes from white
that
supremacy.
comes
I don't
from-
think so. I think
I'm
it
gonna
comes
tell you
from-
that
I
it
think
does.
comes from
I know
white
for a
colonialism.
I'm gonna tell you that it does
Which
because you have your
is the
house.
I think it comes,
It comes
from
from white
colonialism.
superiority. It comes
Say it.
from white superiority.
White
Don't get me
colonialism.
started.
House what?
I mean,
I
black
stand in-
slave.
I
they
stand
would,
in the
they
field.
would pick it up from the
Comes from
white
your house, your home?
colonialism.
It's
Wait, why
Go
does
ahead. Go ahead.
the telltale sign of oppressed people. Take on the
Black lives and black men, they try to reciprocate the white life that they had to come to. You know what I mean? They lose all their family, they lose their children. They're working for their master. So, you know, you have your head nigga, the house nigga who gets to be in the house, and then, you know, his wife and daughter, they're the ones who get raped. So the light ones get to stay in the house and the dark ones be the field niggas. That's why we have such much hatred within our own, because we don't even know how successful we are as a culture or a person or people, because we're actually living to white standards.
right? And
So you have a division within your culture that's based on somebody else's paradigm.
Yes,
well-
because everything had been ripped away at, like, where are
Because you don't
from?
have a
If
paradigm
you-
of your own.
Yeah, if you walk down the
Because you
street
never,
and ask a black
your
person
people
where
never
they're
got to
from,
develop their
they
own
can't tell you.
paradigm.
Well, because there was a level of denial.
Right.
We have the same father, but
And delusion.
you get to be in the house and I don't.
Right.
to make
Even
us the
Christmas
savior
has become white
friends.
supremacist. It's the East Coast, snowy white Santa Claus, pink nose, you know, shopping on Fifth Avenue, money.
I think like it's
Even Jesus Christ
it's
became a
all-
white man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he was
100%.
like,
White
Jesus,
Jesus,
white
white Jesus,
Santino.
white Jesus, white Jesus. You know what I mean? What he's saying is it's infiltrated into everything, and you don't even realize it anymore.
I want to
just
ask
also wanna-
Santino.
I wanna
That's the
say-
narrative.
I
It's
also
so
wanted to add
insidious.
on what Jonathan mentioned about colorism, because that persists like in Asian culture.
Everywhere,
Um,
everywhere.
For us especially, I am half German, half Filipino, so I'm very fair skinned, like compared to the typical Filipino.
Yeah, you just look like a white person. You know what I mean?
Right, but there's also,
And
from
growing
what I
up,
know,
I
Hold on, let him finish.
Growing up, I actually experienced some type of white privilege, which should not have happened because I'm Filipino and we're all
White
the same.
passing
Like,
privilege.
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
think about
I-
the knowledge and the education that you have from that, from being Filipino and experiencing white privilege, right? And think about the knowledge that you gain from that, the awareness that you're allowed to get from that experience. You know, I could have been a little less privileged than I was, based on sort of the direction that I took and a few people in my family, because you know we actually come from Sicilian people, and it could
Right, which is not
Well,
white.
but that's what
So you have to
America's
remember-
problem is.
So you have to remember, it's that degree.
They keep
of-
trying to tell us,
yeah.
let's get to as white as possible. No, this is Italian,
Yes,
this is
that's right.
Nigerian, this
Yes.
is Filipino, this is the
Yes.
Congo, this is Native American. Like, no, y'all got this shit twisted.
But
And
think
you got
about the-
people
but
trying to
think
live a
about the
lot.
knowledge you get out of having that experience.
Yeah.
You
I no
get
longer
to
have sympathy
understand
for it.
what white privilege looks like in a way that maybe the other people around you didn't get to see.
That makes me feel super uncomfortable for having to experience it. You know what I mean? It's like
Or
I
even
also
try to evolve
am mixed
to
race, very white passing. You know what I mean? And do you know how many times people are like, when I tell them like, "Oh, you're just white," they just try to erase that whole other part of me, that whole cultural thing that I feel very
to
connected
make
to.
them comfortable.
To make basically the most common denominator, everyone wants to be white. So, oh, you're just basically white. Congratulations, you're in the club. No, bitch, I'm not in the club. Like, there's so much more to. So, like, parts of me growing up wished I was darker, wished I didn't have green eyes. My sisters used to hate me because, or always make fun of me, like, oh, you got the green eyes, you're so like, da da da. It's like, I didn't want these. You know what I mean? They all have the brown eyes. They have the darker skin.
You didn't
I, for
choose
whatever
it.
reason, came out lighter and with green eyes.
But
And
think
yet,
about the opportunity you
but
have
yes,
now.
exactly. I am given
Yeah,
better
but that's not
opportunity.
what we
people
should be
smile at me. People
congratulated.
I mean,
We're
but
not.
that's it makes
We
me feel
are.
ashamed
No.
that I
Wow.
have it.
And it also kind of,
It
it
makes me
also,
feel shame.
That's not what
not praise. It
No,
doesn't.
no.
And it's not
I don't
like,
mean that.
oh, I'm so grateful that I get to experience whiteness if I
Right.
just
That's
hide my
where-
last name and don't let anyone know my last name. But that's the. I know that's not what you mean, but that's how it's coming off in a way. It's like, well, you're lucky that you can pass as a white person. Like it's like makes me feel like, okay, so as long as I don't tell my last name, don't do this, don't do that, it's like, oh, everything will be kosher. I can, but
I'm
that's
saying
not.
that-
I
Yeah,
think that's what he was saying.
I'm
No,
saying,
but that's
think
how it
about
makes-
all the things that you can speak on now based on that experience. So
100.
you know what white privilege looks like.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
You know what the experience of it is. You know what it also means to experience it objectively. You know what I mean?
I
And
feel
so
a little
that-
bit of guilt.
and
that you
I
can pass.
definitely do
But
feel
you can turn
guilty
that
because
more
it's
into
weird.
like, well,
It's like-
what can you
it's
do
out of your
with that
control.
Yeah, it
experience
makes me
that
feel
helps
weird that I
other
shouldn't.
people?
I don't.
You know what I mean?
I get that. I do get what you're
Now,
saying.
from
but,
my understanding, not to cut you off, that there are what are called negritos in the Philippines.
Yeah.
And they live in the hills,
Yeah,
or
'cause-
mountains. Tell me about that.
so it's part of the indigenous groups of people. Before we started getting colonized, there were three main groups. So you got the Mayans, the Negritos, and I forgot the other one. There's three major groups. And I actually come from the region of Negritos. So a lot of my family are very dark skinned. And then I
Somehow.
differently.
So is
well,
that is that
no.
part of what maybe you felt? Is because you were the only light-skinned
Well, I wasn't the only
Filipino?
one, but I was like
Okay.
the lighter, like one of the lighter skinned
Okay.
people. But it's also a double-edged sword because sometimes I felt like I wasn't Filipino enough, or
Right.
I
Oh, wow.
wasn't white enough.
Of
So
course.
it's always been, I guess I lived that life for a long time, or because even mixed with my being trans,
Right.
sometimes I feel like I'm not man enough.
Exactly.
You know, so it's a double-edged sword, but it is. I think it is good that I do get to see it from different points of view, but it's also not easy.
No, absolutely not.
But nothing compared to what Black people actually go through.
100.
But-
100%.
But
Because
it's
our experience
low-key
is
the same
it's
feeling
almost the
about
same.
being uncomfortable.
I'm the
in your own
lightest in
skin.
my family. I lived in San Clemente.
Yeah.
I have very good manners. My
Right.
brother is stark black with crystal blue eyes. I get to experience positive transitioning
choose
because my parents sacrificed a good upbringing for me. So imagine if so you have your experience on that and how you can kind of play off the privilege due to the color of your skin. And I get to play off due to like the education or my demographic and what's it called, geography, location? Geographic. And it's like, fuck, can't we just live as people? Like, why does it matter if you are light or dark? We
Yes.
should all be given the same opportunities to survive and to thrive and to live and love.
Our bloods are blue until you cut me.
But it goes back
But I
to
think
that.
we're
That's a
sitting around
historical
this table
because
asking
of
why.
slavery. 'Cause it was-
Oh yeah,
it was
but that's
used
why
as a
we
revolution.
here.
Well, really, racism. The idea of race started in the Spanish Inquisition.
Thank you, I was waiting for
Spanish
someone
were
to bring
trying to basically attack. Back in the day, it was like
More
you
religions.
attack other religions. You know,
Right.
the Spanish against the Muslims against whatever.
Right.
And it's like the Spanish went to go attack this other nation. It's like, oh wait, they're Christian as well. Well, they're darker than us, so that's why we're doing that because they're black.
We'll
you know?
target that.
And that's where this whole idea of light, dark, kind of
Color.
stems from. It's like this differentiation that's very easy.
Well, yeah.
It's a tool
and
of division.
easy
Well,
to
there's
recognize.
dark.
It's like that person's dark, that person's
Devil,
light. Boom,
witch,
boom. You know,
black.
Tell us where the word nigga or nigger came
So-
from. I hate to say that. I'm sorry.
There's Nigeria and Niger. It's just the way that the slave, whatever it's called, slave trade, that's how they talked about the people where they got their slaves from. Niggas.
So it was a geographical.
Yeah, well, there's Niger and then there's Nigeria.
It
So
was
they,
a national reference.
yeah, it's just like, oh, those
Right.
are we got those niggas from there, and it's just like what? And then they attach emotions
Right.
and feelings and definitions to that.
And the delivery.
You know what I mean? So actually, we walking around talking about countries and continents. You
This
just
is where I'm
sound ignorant.
from. Right.
You know what I mean? Every time, nigga, you said a continent, country. You just sound dumb.
We just sound dumb.
Okay, so meanwhile, we're talking about this word that it's so contentious, and we've brought it to a place where, like, we say the N word when we need to talk about it, whatever. How in culture, how in literary culture, how in consciousness culture does that become an utterance that disappears? How do we truly make that? You know what I mean? Do you understand the challenge
It's never
of it?
going to disappear because of the timeline of history. People who are 70, 80, 90 years old who embrace it.
And we'll never forget it.
You have a differentiation of who those slaves were by being in the house or in the field. Blank. House. Blank. You know what I mean? So it's like, it will never go away because it continuously tells a history. But what
And
we're
haunts.
failing at is not telling our history.
Right.
So when I sit here and tell you from the 80s, 82 to 90, yeah, they're talking about it lyrically, poetry. They're letting you know this is what happened. This is where we've been for 400 years. But then we kind of jump off to the gangster rap and, oh, come on and get down this pole. And no. To be a nigga, I would rather be in the field standing with my people instead of
Singing
busting
hymns.
guns and gats and fucking being in a strip
And making
club.
babies.
That's not a nigga to me.
Wow, I don't even know how many people are in this country right now.
Oh, Lord.
What's it say?
Say your words.
Can only make plans one day out.
Josh.
Why? You have
Because
to say
it's
why.
true.
Because you're asleep till 1 p.m.
Till 2
bitch.
p.m.
You can't make plan an hour out. Fuck
And
you.
that's the least shadiest answer ever.
Talking about,
because
I haven't
it's so
eaten
real.
yet.
Come
You
on.
haven't.
Come on,
It's
somebody
3
else, come on.
a.m.
It's
Josh.
6 p.m.
What are you doing? What are you doing today, Son? Bitch, I don't know. I
Right.
don't know what I have for
What
dinner.
do you
Living
got?
my best
Josh.
life.
What do you got?
Maybe Josh.
You probably don't really know, but you're gonna say
Yeah, but you'll know.
You're getting this card, bitch.